What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 15 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Thorgrim Grudgebearer Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, we continue to advance. The Axe Storm army has defeated Arbaldi, no longer so undefeated anymore, and is looking to wipe out his faction with his last two settlements. It'll be one at the end of this turn as soon as we take the Bone Gulch. Thorgrim continues to advance, having taken out 8 peaks and destroyed both Skarsnik and very nearly Sokeek Headtaker, who's down to 1 territory and 1 or 2 possibly armies. Not exactly sure. We have also confederated Karak-Kadrin, the Slayer King Ungrim Ironfist, has joined us at last and will be looking to reclaim this sort of portion of the central World's Edge Mountains, as there are still a lot of Skaven just to the north of Karaz-a-Karak. We instead headed south towards 8 Peaks, which I still contend was probably the right decision, though it did cost us the Brightstone mine. On the bright side, the Brightstone side, this leaves something to do for Mr. Ironfist, who, after taking these territories, will most likely proceed north. I'm not 100% sure, but we would probably like to grab the northern World's Edge Mountains in order to eventually, after taking control of Helpit, link up with the northern holds around Krakadrak and what we've got going on here. It's looking okay, but as we expand, there is ever more enemies on our borders. Gotta remember, this is Old World, and though we have a pretty massive empire, there are other massive empires waiting for us, like this huge clan Scryer Empire. This is all Skaven, and then about half of Bretonia belongs to Lord Skrolk as well, which is pretty darn interesting. And they are part of our legendary grudges after all, so there's that. Anyway, in terms of what we got to do this turn, there's a bunch of stuff. Namely, we've gotten down to 2 turns remaining on the Confederation debuff, which means we can start this episode off with a nice quest. Armor of Glimril Scales, I believe, was next, so Mr. Grimbrindle is going to get his first armor piece, and I guess this is also a good opportunity to now use his, actual armor, rather than the Helm of Dreska, which has now conferred its power to Grimbrindle. And I guess we'll move you right out here to Grung Stekbrund, now or near it at least. We do still have to hunt down Skarbrand. Hopefully nobody else kills him off before we get there. And Gromby wants that credit. And I've been very happy with Gromby's army so far. Anyway, let's give this a read. It's his first quest, so it should be easy, so I don't imagine we'll take that much damage. But his last quest, or I think one of his quests was a difficult one, but I don't remember which one. Hopefully it wasn't. No, wait. This is the first one, so we get all 4. Yeah, that's great. I'm so glad that we confederated them early enough so that we're basically not missing out on any quests except, I think, Malachi's, who got both of his items. I guess he gets them at low levels. He had both, nonetheless, I did Malachi's quest relatively recently, so I'm pretty happy about all that. Anyway, Armor of Glimmer's Scales. Nobody knows what those exactly are made of. Something forged by the ancestor gods, perhaps for their son. Anyway, a group of rangers make contact with the White Dwarf to relay a message that none other than the greatest brewmaster himself, Joseph Bugman, is in need of the White Dwarf's aid. After Grimbrindle makes the long journey to the legendary brewery, Bugman recounts to him a tale of woe and fell magics that has all the hallmarks of the ruinous powers. And those are my favorite powers. It seems a Chaos Lord is loose in the Reichwald, performing fell rituals that corrupt beastmen tribes to his will and saturate the Cloven Ones in dark magic, making them an even greater threat than normal. So far, the Umgi of Sigmar have proven no match for these corrupted warherds. It is time for the Dowie to take matters into their own hands. Teleport. Oh, and we had just 500 gold, too. Perfect. All right. And let's see. Hargroth Slaughter Call. Well, he's calling to slaughter, but I'm not so sure that he's gonna get the slaughter he wanted out of this. Go. This is a battle of bitter foes. There is more than mere honor at stake. The White Dwarf has encountered this Chaos Dragon before, when the fell creature struck the Ancestor Lord, shattering Glimmeril Scales from Grimbrindle's armor. Such a slight cannot remain unaccounted for. Defeating the Chaos Lord will allow the White Dwarf to recover the scales and complete his armor once more.
MOHAWK! Ye slime flame-worshipping Ungi filth merchant! Get your ass and that pit reptile over here! I would have words with your little beast face to face, so that I lop off its claw and reclaim what is mine. Those scales are from my armor, and no thief steals from the White Dwarf and lives. You and your followers will die. That is my oath, as my King Grimnir is witness. Right, my northern kin, let's get about this. I promised Grimnir there'd be a mighty tally, and I ain't one for breaking such an oath. So come on, let's have 'em!
All right, here we go, running way ahead, Gromby, and the rest of the units following, though it's just great to see the Iron Breakers run at 48 speed. Once we get Ungrim's 10% increase to them as well, I guess they'll get another 3 speed, so it'll be over 50 speed, which is going to be pretty darn solid. Also, pretty good speech, I gotta say. Gromby no slouch in the speech-making business, though, I mean, where I like that he's a lot more sassy than Thorgrim is. Thorgrim is very kingly, as I've said, but well, I mean, Grumbrindle is the first High King as well, but he's I know he's not putting on airs nearly as much. Or maybe he is, I mean, it's just the dwarf way. But anyway, I like his speech is what I'm getting at. What the enemy will not like is all of this. Flames, steam, and troll hammer torpedoes smashing into the enemy. The great chaos dragon that rent the armor of Grumbrindle asunder, at least a little bit, causing it to lose some scales, dropping out of the sky before achieving anything, while the rest of the enemy piles of beastmen and get absolutely obliterated. Probably not even need to engage them with our Iron Breakers, but at least the Iron Breakers have a little bit in the way of ammunition. And oh wow, the flames are just going through them here. Gotta be careful about that. Probably should have moved them a little bit lower so that they didn't get hit too much, and I'd wager that this is all damage from our own units to them. But worth it because that charge looked pretty darn cool. Probably not from the enemy's perspective. Alright, and those poor beastmen, it's hard to focus down a single unit because they're getting absolutely obliterated as we go. Of course, it is, once again, the first quest battle for Mr. Grumbrindle, so it should be a little bit easier than the second and the third will be. Not that this battle is over, however. While the first army, led by the Chaos Champion, has been destroyed, there's more where that came from. Over on our left flank, we've got some Chaos Spawn arriving, and thus we're going to move in to deal with them. We actually have a pretty good position because of these barrows to our flanks, and the barrow mounds will provide a sort of impassable terrain for us to deal with. I do find it, I don't remember if I said this or I intended to say this, but I find it amusing that Grumbrindle has the most mobile, immobile army, you know? Super fast moving units, but no real need to actually make use of that speed most of the time. Alright, and here come the Beastman variant of the Chaos Spawn. Grumbrindle's gonna move out ahead and try to whack away at a few of them. Not that there is any need. While the others head for our main line, or at least attempt to do so. Most of them have already been destroyed by our troll hammers here. And this one gets hit in the back by, wouldn't you know it, more troll hammers from our gyrocopters, which were floating around in support. The Chaos Spawn goes down, and with that, the battle is not over, as there's more Chaos Spawn where that came from. There we go. Alright, they are... Oh, wow, that's a big old skull. That's it. Okay, this is a very nice barrow mound. You gotta admit. I like it, and there's a nice Stonehenge up above as well. This is a pretty neat area, just generally speaking. Huh. I wish we got a little bit more information about it. And is that wood? Yeah, this definitely looks... The walkway around the place definitely looks constructed, and clearly it is. I really like this location. Anyway, back to the actual battle at hand. Sorry about spinning the camera around so much, but it had to be done. Here come the enemy Chaos Spawn once more. Let's watch them get wrecked from our own perspective rather than theirs this time around. Troll hammers Scolder Guard in their steam, and there's the blasting charges in the Iron Drake's fire as well. And of course the continued support of our range units as well, as in our gyrocopters. Alrighty, and it looks like most of the Chaos Spawn, in fact I think all of the Chaos Spawn have been obliterated before reaching our main lines. Grimbrindle got to whack away at a couple of them, managing to rack up 6 Chaos Spawn kills, which, you gotta admit, is pretty good. Didn't need to use the Thane or the Runesmith, really, to back him up, and with that, the battle is ours. Nice little fight. Alrighty, there we go. A fun battle. Probably would have been a little bit more difficult if all of the Chaos Spawn came at us at once, but, well, I guess it is the first quest of Grimbrindle, so that probably might be meant for a more lower level army. Still, always enjoyable to get charged by all of those beastmen and chaos spawns. We took relatively little damage here as well, and we are going to thus be able to, I guess, execute and loot. It's not much money either, but can always use more money. And it's the Dowie way. Alrighty, and there we go. Stonemason, another dwarf bride, good. Not for Grimbrindle. You are going to get your Armor of Glimmeril scales now, which doesn't offer us anything faction-wide, but the control plus 25 for all provinces is really what we, well, really wanted here. I'm going to try to do my best, since we now have a lot of lords and stuff, to essentially do one quest battle every episode. Of course, yeah, I mean, it's only a 2-turn long buff, so if we can do that, that would be great. And then we can maybe coincide it with the rest of the confederations, Belagar and all the minor holds. The only major hold that I'm sort of on the fence about doing a double, well, I guess we only have one double confederation left anyway, but Karaz-a-Karak is strength rank 55. On the other hand, they only have 4 settlements, so it's kind of meh anyway. Anyway, we have enough quests to completely counteract any Confederation debuffs at this point anyway, so it doesn't really matter one way or another. Just speeds things along a little bit. Anyway, Gromby. Oh, yeah, right. I didn't do that in order, because I can't do anything in order. You are going to advance toward Kezid Board Kurag. Stay in our own territory, I guess, because you can reduce the Slaneshi corruption here, because it's just ridiculous. Adjacent provinces 10. Huh, well, there must be a Slaneshi cult in a nearby province. Ooh, we are approaching Krakadrak as well, which gives us +2 Thane capacity. Well, we have been looking for Thanes. King Azrael, the Silver Hammer, our undead king of the Silver Pinnacle, is a silent lord, is in the community canon, and the clan is ruled by a council of Thanes instead, so he should have his Thanes with him as well before he marches upon the Silver Pinnacles. Alas, we don't yet have capacity for that, but we'll get there, surely. Anyway, Thorgrim, back to you. Let's start doing things in order now. Ooh, maybe I should have put Grimbrindle into a stance. Alright, 3rd time now. Oh, my bad. Yeah, you can go into Valle's Will. I guess we're not generating a lot of stuff here, and it'll reduce the corruption a little bit. We can also pump up the marble quarry, maybe build... What do we have here? We should probably build the Makazungor immediately. And probably upgrade both of the dwarf outposts here. It's not like there's super... Oh, actually, while I did want to do those, there was a... Karataman's Tomb, Deeps... We want to get you up and running. Alright, there we go. And we don't have much money left, although we might at the end of the turn, because we might be fighting more. Now, Thorgrim. The question is, what do we do with you in the immediate moment? Technically speaking, we should advance towards the Exiles of Nehek and take out their territories, but there are both undead, which have now declared war upon us, and Magorkhan here might actually be a fight worthy of Thorgrim, especially if we can get another stack moving around there. But even if not, it doesn't have a defensive structure, meaning we could do a nice cinematic. It would mean then moving through the territories of the Skullcrag, which admittedly they don't have a lot of. So I guess, yeah, fine. We'll move down here. We'll bounce back towards Karakazgal, since we can't let the Exiles of Nehek keep it. I guess you can go right here and stay in Guskur Mines to increase the... I mean, I guess we could get rid of the granary. Frankly, we shouldn't be collecting income here anyway, and I'll turn that off later. But for now, go into... I don't know, I guess we could raid for a turn. 359? Yeah, not worth it. I'd rather not lose the 5 oath gold, because we need just so many thousands of oath gold at this point, so yeah. Alright, Joseph of Zorn, you were so close to advancing upon Darkhold, but yet another blob of forest goblins have arrived. Once again, we're in a little bit of a deadlock in this portion of the map, so not much we can do about it yet. But it's all good. You're gonna stay in ambush stance or go into ambush stance, go here once more, and we'll see if we can't ambush them again. And maybe if these guys don't have armies, it might give us the opportunity to bounce through their territories real quick before we go back. Snorri Morgrimmel, it's time for you to fight. Or, wait, let us actually have Mr. Dwinbar Ranulfson. You're the higher level one, yes, yes. You're gonna attack Bone Gulch. Snorri will reinforce so that he can chase down Kalash, because I'm sure we won't be able to kill everything there. And Snorri will move in as a reinforcement. Oh, but if we do that, the Bloodletters will be summoned right on top of you, eh? And you won't be able to defend yourself. I guess you can... Actually, can you outrun them? 32 speed. Bloodletters are probably faster. I can give it a... We could give it a shot and see what happens. I don't know if it's a bad idea. I wonder if there's a place to hide you, because if there is, maybe we can do that. Alright, go here. Okay, where's the... How close do we need to get, or can we get? Like, right here? We still need to have enough movement range to be able to chase this guy down, which I'm not sure that we will anymore. Honestly, he's gonna back off, and I don't think you're gonna be able to chase him down. Will he be able to get Barrow of Malice? Maybe. Alright, you know what? That's not gonna work. We're just gonna have to make sure that we kill him instead, so you're gonna break off, and we're gonna have Snorri go here instead. That way, when the Bloodletters get summoned on top of us, we can actually deal with it. Alright, like so. And then the rest of them will reinforce and hopefully rack up a decent bit of XP, hopefully without getting mobbed by those Bloodletters. Or, if mobbed by the Bloodletters, hopefully not the Overseers. Alright, you got 2 more levels until you can take command of this army, and Snorri can advance northward to transfer some of his stuff to the Slayer King. And we might have him do a half-Slayer army as well. If we can do another sort of composition for it. Anyway, this should be a fight, and a fight it shall be. We're going to quick save because, again, game is not trustworthy anymore due to the minor instability that we seem to have been encountering. And this should be pretty fun. Valiant defeat, casualties high, lots and lots of Khorne unit, and every single ability that they have available to them, including 2, again, uses of Summon from Beyond. Go. Alright, here we go again, facing off against the forces of Khorne this time around. We don't have to deal with that primal rage, and thus are free to move around and, well, not get our artillery and such forced into melee combat. It is a hybrid army, of course, so it is still intent on doing some melee combat, but, you know, at a time of its own choosing, rather than pretty much immediately, like they had to deal with before. Anyway, that's the first of the enemy summons of Bloodletters on top of our units. We're going to speed our way through to the second while we try to knock down that tower, which has done a little bit of damage to the Rangers with great weapons here. Granted, the Rangers do have stock, and thus we're able to go back into hidden until the next pile of Bloodletters popped up. Alrighty, a few axes fly into their backs from some of those Rangers, but we're going to stop them from firing anymore lest they kill off too many of our own Slayer units. Though, of course, we do now have that ability that stops Slayer units from dying, and what's the missile resistance? 20%, 5 ward save, 50% physical resistance on the... oh, because they drop below 50% HP, the Slayers with Grudge Settlers, eh? Certainly gonna have to think about that. That's probably what the intent is. Force them to take a massive amount of damage but not lose any units with the ability, I forget what it's called again, that makes them not die. Glorious Death. That's a really ironically named ability. Yeah, so for 40 seconds, all Slayers within the area cannot die. So if the Grudge Settler Slayers take 50% of their damage without losing any units. They then have 80% or 80 if their units remaining, but with a massive amount of physical resistance increased due to the extremely daring death blow that gives them the bonus 25%, which is pretty darn solid. Plus the additional damage, of course, which certainly needed. Otherwise, they hit, even the Grudge Settler variant hit less hard than Forsaken do. Which is a little bit surprising. I mean, Forsaken are still Umgi, and you'd think the Dwarfs would be able to hit a little bit harder, but anyway. We'll see. Time for the enemy to move towards us. Gonna take a couple shots at them with our engineer here. See if that forces them to move in. Doesn't look like it. Alright, I'm just going to speed this up while we take position, slowly but surely advancing, and bombarding the enemy on occasion with our artillery piece. The second tower goes down, and now we're safe to move a little bit closer, as the enemy can no longer do too much about it. Alright, getting a little bit of work done with our Master Engineer as well as our Guild Master here. 2.3k damage from this distance, and 3k damage on you. Not anything crazy, but admittedly, it's a decent little bit of damage, huh? Do these guys have explosive shots, I wonder? Again, I mean, obviously our Gatling guns do not, but I don't see any exploding shots. Well, either way, here comes a spawn of Khorne gonna move towards us, though I don't imagine that's going to have a particularly good time of it, and there we go. You know, had to wait until it went into Rampage and decided to move towards us. You are moving way too slow there, bud. And down you go, okay. Next, there's another Chaos Spawn behind them, and the artillery will continue its fire. Let's see if this Chaos Spawn manages to reach us through the storm of axes. Though I imagine if our ball failed to do so, I don't imagine the Chaos Spawn is no dice. Drowned in a sea of axes. Alright, oh, and look at that. The sort of bloody path getting hit by axes as it moved forward. Alright, let's speed it up again and continue moving forward. Khornates want to maybe charge us a little bit more. And if not, we'll just advance. And alright, here comes a unit of Chaos Warriors of Khorne, going to get slowed down by a shot from the Grudge Settler Grudge Thrower. And like I said, I did think that we should probably get another Grudge Settler Grudge Thrower in this army. I really like that Monstrous Impact combination. Between Monstrous Impact and Suppressed from the Guild Master, these guys are down to 3 speed. They're basically stuck, and they can't really move at all, and the armor-piercing axes will continue flying at them. Of course, the time that we took to focus those guys down allowed one of those chaos... Look at all those axes. I freaking love this army. Allowed one of the Chaos Spawn to move in, which explodes just as it runs in, and I mean explodes as in dies. Like so. Actually, it survived a little bit longer than I thought it would, but I guess we were focusing the other units down, but nonetheless. It still didn't achieve all that much. Anyway, once again, nice combination between the Grudge Thrower's Monstrous Impact and that Suppression. Starting to make me think that if we want to build an army that's specifically focused on slowing enemies down, we may want to make use of those Grudge Settler Grudge Throwers. I had a lot of fun with the slow stacking armies, both in my Kislev campaign, in the Tsarina-Katrin campaign specifically, and in the last, I believe it was Elspeth campaign, last Imperial campaign that I fought. Slowdown armies are really fun. We also made one in the Chaos Dwarfs. It didn't quite slow the enemies down nearly as much, but still. We could grab some Outriders from the Imperials to get suppression in bigger numbers, and then a couple of Grudge Throwers, which will give us Monstrous Impact in Shrapnel projectiles, and I'm sure at least some Dwarfen units have some kind of slow application besides suppression. We also have the option of using Asp bows on probably Engineers or something. Alright, I like the idea. We'll do a slow down army, and at some point with some army. I haven't decided. Oh, we also got to think about Joseph Bugman army. Been a couple of comments requesting one. I figure for Bugman, we gotta do a sort of armored or armed caravan type of army, probably using war wagons from the Empire, call them beer wagons or whatnot. Gotta deliver the beer, right? And, well, obviously Bugman's Rangers with them, but obviously not nearly as many as with Belegar, although we'll see. I don't remember what Belegar looks like in SFO and what exactly he does for other units, if other units need to be mixed in with his Rangers. Anyway, speaking of Rangers, our own are doing pretty darn good. The Rune of Wrath and Ruin and all of the axes in the world come down on all those poor Chaos Warriors of Khorne. One of them just booking it on out of there. Same with the Cultist. And we got more axes where that came from. Here come the Marauders. Those shields ain't doing them any good. Oh, this is fantastic. I love this army. This is making me very happy right now. And you know, we're getting a lot of variety in terms of army types, which I am very happy about as well. Anyway, keep on throwing. Yeah, this was one of the late game armies that I wanted to make work in my previous dwarf campaign, and the campaign essentially ended before we could use the army too much. And well, I think I was right on the money that time, because this is a really fun army, especially when it gets to work in range as well. Eventually, everybody will run out of ammunition because the Rangers with throwing axes also don't carry a lot. We can see the Ultar's Raiders and the frontliners are essentially already out, and then the similar thing for the Goblin Heroes. So if this army faces off against essentially more than a 2/3 of a stack, if they face off against a full stack or or 2 stacks, then they're pretty much always likely to run out of ammunition and then move into melee, which is exactly the point of the army. Alright, keep on throwing those axes while you got them. Throw them if you got them. Damn, they've been doing well at this time. And this is what I wanted from this army. The Feral Rage has been preventing us from fighting like this. just a giant pile of Khornate corpses and axes. That's the entire battlefield here. And the axes are still flying, and I do believe our Goblin Hewers at this point have nearly run out, or if not completely run out. And it's just the last of the Rangers throwing the last of what they got. Fortunately, it looks like that does it, and of course we slow the enemy down further with a flash bomb as well. Alright, and there we are. With that, I do believe most of the enemies are destroyed. I think, yeah, most of our ammunition is gone. Oh, we got a couple more. Alright, well, I'm not tired of this. The Khornates might be tired of this, but I'm certainly not. Let's see if these guys can at least close the distance with our single entities up front, or possibly the now out-of-ammunition Rangers behind them, who are more than ready to go into melee should they need to do so. Ooh, nice shot from our engineer there. Saw the enemy that he hit. I guess it could have been a coincidence, but it looked like he shotgunned somebody down. And here come our Slayers as well. Beautiful. That's who we got here. Enemies are broken. The bounce power's at about 90% in our favor. There is a unit of Forsaken coming in. Once again, 74 weapon strength on these guys. And this is just a random unbuffed garrison unit as well. Next time I play, well, I guess we'll be playing Chaos with Tzeentch rather shortly. I want to see what heights we can take the Forsaken of Tzeentch. I'm trying to remember, do we have any community canon Tzeentch Lords? I think we just have the one, the Chronicler, right? Technically a Warriors of Chaos hero, but Tzeentch Warriors of Chaos heroes, so it'll make an appearance in the Tzeentch campaign. And I hear horns. I do believe those are the horns of defeat, as the last of the enemy units of Forsaken will shatter. And the battle is pretty much ours, and damn was that effective. I mean, look at those. Ah, glorious. The Axe Storm army living up to its name fully. And the only thing we gotta do now is to complete the destruction of these last units, Cultist Herald and Blood Shrine, all of Khorne, waiting for our units to move into proximity so that they can start being banished. Here they charge. And there we go. The belly flop that the Slayers like to do as they charge on, and seems a little bit unnecessary. You miss the belly flop, and then you get a sword through the back of your skull. But what do I know? Or your head just lopped off. Anyway, nice little bit of action for the single entity since the Axe Storm stole the show this time around. Looks like the Herald of Khorne has been banished. The Cultist of Khorne is now running away and only the Blood Shrine remains. And even that, not for much longer as it is down to 10% HP and one more hit. Alright, looks like the Thane and the Runesmith delivered the final hit together at the same time. And with that, the battle is ours. I'm very happy right now. It was a really fun fight. Alright, got ourselves a Gleaming Pennant. Still don't care for the item, so it doesn't really matter. I wish you could fuse banners into better banners as well. Oh well, not a big deal. Pretty fun fight. I like that we were able to essentially get the fight as... how would I say, more of a sort of Axe Storm than perhaps previously, in the sense that we've previously had to deal with that feral rage with this army, and that meant constantly getting into melee. But it is a hybrid army, after all. By about 2,000, the manual Goblin Hewers just managed to edge out the damage and kills over the Axe you a question, but both vastly outdamaged everybody else. And actually, that reminds me. Let's occupy the place real quick. And... no crash? Let's see what happens after you stop moving. No crash. I don't know, game. I don't know. Runesmith, a Luckstone for Groth Baruch. You don't need that, at least not right now. And a Sword of Striking. You don't need that either. And I assume the other guy got something? Got Powder Maker, and a Runesmith's Apprentice, and there's that Gleaming Pennant. Alrighty, you two. These two Slayers have been the only melee units in effectively a hybrid ranged army, so and only true melee units, I suppose. So I think they deserve some names. You will be Haskel's... Whoa, what the heck? Pressed the wrong thing there. Haskel's Finest. That was the... actually, does that pop up on the Let's Play, on the recording? That's it. That was the reshade. But anyway, Haskel's Finest for you, and hopefully that didn't do anything to the stability of the game. And you will be MOHAWK Monsters. There we go. All right, and they're obviously going to be transferred to Ungrim, being Grudge Settlers, Slayers, and all that. And well, we'll get there. You will not be able to be chased down. Fortunately. We got the how did that... Oh, the Herald got reforged. Huh, well, actually, you know what? Maybe it's good that it got reforged, because that means that it... Are you rank 10 yet? Just short of rank 10. Maybe it's good that it got reforged, because it will be at low HP rather than a full HP one that would have replaced it next turn, so whatever. All good, I guess. Let's keep on moving. Got a little bit of cash out of that, but not enough to be really concerned with. Grimly Quarrel Seeker. Maybe we should move you to help wipe out the Wintertooth. Once again, we do need to wipe out Sarthoriel, but these guys are kind of a threat here, A, and B, we really need to grab the lair of the Troll King before our allies do, and then maybe you can travel through the lair of the Troll King like this, up there, rather than going after Sarthoriel. If we don't immediately get a war declaration upon us from... Clan Molder, maybe we can have Grimbrindle wipe the Zinchans out. It's a possibility. We'll see if it works out for us. You. I mean, you can travel further in regular stance than you can in this stance, right? About the same, but anyway, since we're not suffering corruption here, as there is not enough chaos corruption, I think we're okay. Wait, trespassing? Oh, in Wintertooth's territory? Oh no. However will we live with ourselves? I'm a little bit surprised that there aren't Grudge Settler bolt throwers, or a regiment of renown bolt throwers. A unit that's historically been rather lackluster in the game could have used a new sort of lease on life or whatever. Anyway, you. We'll keep hold of Fort Scaehold. We have no intent of keeping it forever. We're going to trade it to the lowlanders, i.e. the Great Orthodoxy and whatever other Kislevites are nearby. Most likely we'll have to get into a war with the Greenskins, but that's fine. We're going to need the extra grudges over the next over the course of the next next Age of Reckoning. I'm very worried about how many grudges it'll be. It's at 41,000. We just went a little bit over, but yeah, 41,000. We'll see. Concerning. Anyway, rearguard Helldower. Okay, you're a rearguard. You don't need to move. Finn Arkandreskel's son. Okay, so as you guys can see, probably I deleted the miners and the quarrelers in this army rather than waiting for them to evolve into thunderers. It might just take too long, and I don't want this army to win all of its fights in quarreler format. So we're going to build other units instead. This is going to be a cannon-centric army, so you can get 2 more cannons as well. The rest of the army should be Thunderers and Engineers, unless I'm mistaken. We'll do 2 for now. It'll actually probably get reduced by 1, because I might want to put like a War Drum or something in there, but we'll see. We don't have access to them as yet. And we will have other organ guns, more organ guns, I should say, in another army, which is why I'm not super concerned about building too many of them here for now, you know? Makes sense. Actually, we can name one of you as well. Sweet music. While we're here and while I'm naming stuff. There you go. Enjoy. Anyway, we'll recruit you some Thunderers in a second. We just need to make some more money. And to do that, we need to fight. And to do that, we need to actually find somebody who's in the process. You are going to proceed over to Horrocks Gap. So I guess that's where you're going. Smart stance up here. What's the likelihood that you get run into and attacked by somebody? Guess we'll find out. Slave Taker's Camp. Let's build a cheap building here. I'm going to trade it to these guys for a military alliance since we're going to allow them to dwell in these mountains. Quest's End doesn't sound like a dwarven territory after all. Alright, it's not like we have some major claim on all the mountains of Morn right now. We have some portion of it, I'd wager, but anyway. Let's see what else we have here. Braunhammer Fist, Grumby. Oh, I lost my place. Of course I did. Thorek, yes, you are going to USAC camp. I guess you can... Well, you know what? I don't trust you march stancing, so just travel like this. You could potentially get ambushed by... Ooh, hello. That should be a fight for Thorek. We got a full stack in a Wa. And Satang watching them for us. Good. You keep doing that, Satang. Gautry Holdfast, you're just a guard. Brewguard, you're obviously a Brewguard. Malachi. You are not a Brewguard. Although he could be. Let's see. Aazir Pass. If we move here, we should be able to jump down. We could do the same thing here, but I was thinking that maybe we could take the opportunity to build something. Well, actually, we don't really have the money. Alright, fine. We'll maybe move here. Oh. Although, if we get an extra engineer capacity... These are not the engineers you want anyway. Alright, you're just gonna have to work with what you got, bud, because... we don't have engineer capacity as yet. Nor the type of engineer that you want. Let's see if you can't take that layer of the Troll King. It should also free up the Boris Ursus faction, the Ursan Revivalists, a decent bit. Maybe we can tell them to grab a few of these territories, though I think some of these territories are... Doomkeep, I think, is one that we're supposed to own. So we can't let them have that. We should still be able to trade Grung Dirat Duraz, somebody in a couple of episodes reminded me, for Crow Brethren Roost. Still absolutely the plan. And I think that's how we gotta do this turn, no? Callan Helldower, you're fine where you are. Oh, now wait, we gotta move Ungrim. He's he's newly arrived on the field, and he's gotta have some fights. Let's put him up close to Grand Peak, wherein the enemy main stack is, and ooh, we got plenty of units. Alright, that'll be a nice debut battle for Ungrim. In fact, we'll keep it interesting. We're not going to send the backup army to help. Slayers, you're just going to have to try to win it yourselves. Elmador Redax, you're going to move down here towards Rib Peaks instead. Frankly, you're just holding most of these units to transfer like several of the other armies are, but, you know, a few extra Slayer Pirates might be transferred to something and actually used for a purpose. We do have a Slayer Pirate buffing army in this one, so, maybe. It's just that Malachi already has them and he buffs them better, I would assume. Anyway. I think now we're ready to end the turn. Callan Helldower, Elmador Redax, and yeah, that's it. Alright, so no money, unfortunately, to recruit any more Thunderers this turn, but we'll get plenty of money at the after the turn is over, so it shouldn't be an issue. Lord Not moved, Garrison Lord Not moved, unassigned skill points, and I think we checked diplomacy last episode, and if we didn't, I don't care enough to check it now, so end turn. Alright, ally begins outpost construction, embouchure discovered, confederation between Wintertooth and Sarl, eh? Okay, well, maybe they've sensed that we're about to declare war on them, but I guess we can help these guys out a bit anyway. And maybe they won't even need the help as they seem to be doing okay. Oh, although they are surrounded by these filthy orcs. Wintertooth and Sarl, yes, ally begins outpost construction, ambush foiled. This time around, but oh well. War succeeds, settlement sacked. Yeah, so the enemy decided to not stick around to get attacked by Ungrim and move to Hell Cave instead. I did surmise that the AI would attack it and take it, which they did, so I'm not super surprised by the occurrence. A Dwarfen emissary is now complete, so our allegiance points is massively increased, and Powder Maker. Sure, you can keep that. Alright, now, important things to do. Important thing the first. We will move Malachi McKayson down here, Yeah, just move him by the layer of the Troll King, like so. Let's go and attack it anyway, and if an army wants to help out, well, that'll be just fine. Then, you are currently at war with all of these guys. I assume Mercenary Revivalists are the richest, so we'll ask you to join the war against Wintertooth. Yeah, 2,000 gold, not much, like so. And then we'll take a look at what kind of ally missions we've got. Alright, so kill some undead guy, kill some Chaos Dwarf guy, and kill some more undead guys. I think we have a lot of missions for the undead guys, so we'll take some Chaos Dwarf missions. 15, 16. Okay, this one's worth the most, so we'll take that. And these are all worth 14. And again, the undead guys. Huh, okay, well the AI doesn't like those apparently. Alright, go figure. Now, Thorgrim. Oh right, they're here, right? I was like, wait a second. I swear I recruited some units, and yeah, that's you. Okay, so Vikram Burdrick, I would like you to transfer to King Azrael here. 1 unit of Everguard with shields and 1 unit of Everguard with great hammers. One of these is going to stay with King Azrael on loan from the High King, and the other one is going to go to Ungrim, also on loan to the High King, to be his personal bodyguard, a sort of death-sworn warriors to carry the body of the High King back to their hold once he fulfills his Slayer Oath. In the meantime, King Burdrick, you have a long way to travel, sir. You are going to deliver these to Thorgrim. Yes, I don't think I'm forgetting anything, and if I am, you're moving. King Azrael, you're going to start recruiting your own army. And away you go, Vikram. Oh, let's see. These are both going to Ungrim, right? I think that's what I said. So yeah, we could name at least a couple of them. Let's see. Oh, right, the Jar Bombers. You can be Dwarf Force 1. Oh, wow. Okay, good job, Ruinous. Dwarf Force 1, and how about you? You can be High King's Justicars, like so. And oh, that reminds me, I was going to name... Where are you here? I was going to name you Gyrocopter, that's supposed to become a Gyro Bomber, but isn't one yet. But for now, let us name you Special Delivery. Special delivers? Okay, yes, there you go. Alrighty, good enough for now. Grunny Deepbrow, while you're here, you're supposed to join this army, and ooh, these guys are moving towards them. Gotta be careful about that. Let's take the opportunity to build a few of those Thunderers. Global recruitment's only 2, but at least it only takes 1 turn, so not a huge deal. We need 2 more Grudge Rakers, and then 3 of these types of Thunderers, which leaves us 17 out of 20. 18 out of 20 will be the Engineer. 19 out of 20 will be the second Engineer, and then 20 out of 20 will be the Thane, which leaves no room for a Runesmith. I might take the Thane out and put a Runesmith in, because the Thanes don't do anything for these guys. We could put you in another army, I suppose. Or we could just get rid of one of the cannons and still have it available. I don't want to get rid of the organ guns because they're fun. And yeah, we'll deal with that. Ooh, also got to remember, we got to get these guys in places. In fact, let's do it right now. Yes, it's going to cost money that we probably would be better off using for other things, but King Azrael, you were going to have the hammers anyway, so let's get those in there. And in fact, we have dedicated King Azrael to Gazul. King Azrael is an undead white king, essentially, a dwarf white king, and I like the idea of him being, you know, Gazul-centric, because Gazul is the god of the Underearth, a god and the anti-sort of anti-vampires, anti-undeath type of god. I like to think that his silver hammer is, you know, just glows with the runes of Gazul and is banished many an undead. Anyway, technologies. We have to do operations training. We've been waiting to do it for a little bit. We need the additional research and the additional engineers by a big amount. Then, we have declared war on these guys, and what we need to do... Did I ever build the outpost with you? I did not. Okay, we need to do that actually now. Where's the best place to build it? Where's their capital? It's at Erengrad, is it not? Do you not have allies? I guess he does have allies because I don't see Erengrad here. Alright, fair enough. There's nothing that's part of Erengrad. What's a safe location to build these things? Would be probably Alexandrinov because it's a walled settlement. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the capability of building anything that we want other than the light war sleds, but it's the first level of outpost, so we might as well do it right now. Alrighty. And the other thing that we want to do is, I guess we can occupy Fort Ulfegsne with you, and Throggy's still nearby. Oh, wow, Throggy. Building all those Fimir Stalkers. Okay, well, quick save this. We'll auto-resolve it. Who knows? Throg might very well attack us with his stacks there. I maybe shouldn't have done that because now we're damaged, but too late. We'll still occupy it, though. Alrighty, and then Grimly will level you up because, let's say, decent likelihood that you get attacked. Only got the 1 point. You get the important stuff here other than Tactician to buff up those to buff up those bolt throwers even further. Thane, you, I guess, can go through spoils in order to get more money from post-battle loot, and then you, Glum Azrael. Glum Azrael. Alrighty, let's get you... We could max out Rune of Speed, or, you know what, let's go through We Are the Elite and Sharpen Weapons to buff up this army further. I like that. Alright, now, you also are going to get your next Longbeard, so this Dwarf Warrior is out. And this Longbeard Grudge Settler unit is in. Beautiful. Alrighty, and did I ever name these? I did not. We just have Grimly's Grumbling Guard and the Caragrill Bows, and, well, all the bolt throwers are named. Regular-sized crossbows, overcompensating quarrels, grilled rat skewers, and Dalnolas. Let's name a few of these Longbeards, shall we? You can be the King Lun Legion. Is this gonna fit? Oh, it did fit. Alright, King Lun Legion. You can be Senior Citizens. And we'll have one more replaced by another when we have the additional capacity. And then you can be Long Story Shorts. All right, and then yeah, we'll name you once you're that kind. We'll see if Throggy attacks you or not. All right, that I'm reasonably happy with. The other reason that we wanted to declare war on Throg is because the proximity should have made our recruitment from our allies, specifically the Kislevites, significantly cheaper. I'm wrong, it did not. But nonetheless, well, if it's not going to get cheaper from that, it's never going to get cheaper. We need Frostworms. The King Azrael army is a Frostfire army, so I'm going to do that, and I guess we'll build a few more from the Ice Court. 51. Alright, that's a bit on the expensive side. I wonder whether we should maybe... Let me just think about this. Nobody in proximity to declare war on to reduce that cost. We would need to declare war on these guys and share a border. What are you, by the way? You a Norskin? What kind of faction are you? A Greenskin faction? Oh, is it a Forest Goblin faction, maybe? Interesting. Probably gonna be worth a lot to the Kislevites if we go down there and deal with that for them, but, you know, we're busy retaking the realms right now. Anyway, Thorgrim. I guess you're gonna come down to Dringo Karaz. We'll loop back around to this place. And in one turn, we'll, I guess, confederate Mr. Belagar. Alright, go. Right, who are you at war with? You're at war with Exiles of Nehek, so we'll ask you to join the war before we, you know, attack you ourselves. I assume there's no chance of you giving us our territory that we own by right. Karaz-a-Karak. Oh, whoa. I did that the wrong way. Not Karaz-a-Karak. Wait, this is Karaz-a-Karak. You're... Oh, I clicked Karak-a-Zul, not Asgal, that's why. Minus 132, yeah, that's probably not gonna happen. Alright, do this. Alright, thanks, Kotep, at least for now. You won't be thanking us soon. You, Thorgrim, are gonna take Dringo Karaz, which probably isn't worth our time in terms of actually fighting it. It's too minor of a battle, I think. Medium casualties from this? It's just a pile of regular orc boys. I mean, I guess I got a couple of troll units, but I still think it's probably not worth our time. We're gonna quick save it. And then we're gonna auto-resolve it and continue. Huh, yeah, we don't have enough melee units, so they're tending to get hurt, but that's okay. We will, well, we've got more on the way, so anyway, occupy. And Dragon Helm and Dringo Karaz, we will not collect income. Keep the gem mine. Thorgrim, you can build stuff really cheap, so Dwarf keep out. And actually the Ranger Outpost is a good thing to have here because it enables us to see further, so maybe we'll keep it around at least for now. Karagaloon, before I forget, you can go to the 1,000 oath gold for this. You know what, maybe we'll wait on that. We need that oath gold for Tex. Man, we need a lot of oath gold. No easy way to increase it too significantly right now. You're supposed to deliver Mr. Sunny Boy, Girgrim to Ungrim, so keep on going this way. I guess through Kiritaman's tomb and then through Karaz-a-Karak, and we'll maybe meet up here somewhere. That's the plan, anyway. You, King Azrael, you need fire units, but we don't have additional capacity for Iron Drakes unless I'm mistaken. So we could use flame cannons in your army. Can we build flame cannons here? We cannot. I think we can build flame cannons somewhere nearby, though. Yeah, we could just use a global recruitment to do it for you later. And we could build them here. Or we could do Drake guns temporarily. Well, it's supposed to be an ice and fire sort of deal because we have the hammerers who have the frost fire ability. And of course we have the chill and frostbite and the whatever it's the damage reflection area effect ability that the frost worms provide. Frost something. I think no gyrocopters, with Drake guns. We only have them in one army, technically, so we could use them for now, just temporarily, to get the army sort of up and running, and then switch them out as needed. Let's do that, at least for now. And then we'll have somebody else recruit them. I just want sort of the army on field and doing things. Now we can ferry some troops to it, so yeah. Anyway, we started, I started doing things out of order again. Ruinous. Typical. Alrighty, I guess we're going to Black Sands then, so you stay in ambush stance, move down here, we'll see if we can't find those orcs, of which there are admittedly a fair amount. Gonna knock them out then as quickly as we can, book it right back to Hagdar's lair. Alright, rearguard half-hand has not leveled, Snorri Morgrimmel. Ain't no way you're going to Kalash. Oh, what you can do is jump here like so. What you cannot do is have these guys follow because they'll get intercepted by this little army. Which is a shame. Bone Gulch can defend itself, however. Oh, and then you'd probably go this way to Quickie. You got two armies now. Well, you know what? You will die fighting this, but this is a good last stand for these guys. We got 2 turns until the next Grudge Settler army's up, and oh, we won't be able to reach it, will we? I forgot about this, the way of the clans. 2 turns? Yeah, no way. Darn. I was hoping for a full 20 stack, but no, well, I had forgotten that that was needed to be researched, but oh well. Alright, you guys either move to the Barrow of Malice in March stance, which you can reach. And this guy's not going to be able to do anything about it, and then start chasing after this guy, or loop back around this way and try to move towards these guys. I kind of don't want you to get hunted down by Queek at this time, though, so let's just move here, I guess. Oh, you actually can't... Oh, maybe you can. March stance? No, you're not safe there. Alright, so Groth, Burdruk, you stay there, and I guess both of you stay here. I mean, technically, you're supposed to take this army, so you can jump over next turn, I guess.
I'm done
And hopefully this guy doesn't now die by virtue of these guys attacking him. We'll see. Anyway, stay here. Go into Vallea's will. You're supposed to be leading your own army soon. Frankly, this might be a good time to reset you and then send you over, because you, Morgus Death Dealer, will be dealing death in the Mountains of Morn, as you were slated to take command of this army. And ooh, these guys are now moving in to reclaim some of the territories that we've taken. I was hoping to get to Horrocks Gap, but we can't do that right now. This guy's probably going to move to Blackfang, which is a little bit annoying. Don't know whether he can reach in one turn, though. He could move back. I assume he is willing to peace out, but then we just have the same issue with having to retake this. Unless... yeah, no, you know what? Don't peace out. If we grab Karak-Azul, we can have their main stack move down and take that. Alright, you're gonna go this way. Alright there, and then you'll move to Blackfang to defend it against Mr. Dodd. Alright, keep moving. Can't move anybody else until you're done, because this thing will reset. There we go. Alright, who's up next? Braun Hammerfist, you... oh, right now you're fine. Morgus, yes, I was saying we are going to reset you, so we may as well do it now. Yeah, alright. Reset your skill points, and then we'll actually be able to decide what kind of army you will command. I like it. Alright, next up... who do we have? Gromby was next, unless I'm mistaken. Let's do Gromby then. Alright, Gromby, is Skarbrand back? He is not. How long are we willing to sit here and wait for him to return? How many turns has it been since Skarbrand's been gone, huh? We defeated him where? He was defeated here. I feel like we've been fighting a while. What's the likelihood that he actually has returned and is in fact moving around up there somewhere? We could sack the place, but I don't really see any need. You know what? Just sit here for now, raiding them. And, well, that costs Oath Gold. You know what? Just sit there and in camp stance. Might even fight another of your quest battles next turn. And wait. Can always return here to heal up. I'll give him a turn or two. And then if he doesn't show up, Skarbrand, I mean, then we'll just attack them. The longer we wait, the more chance Sartoriel has to recover, which is the main issue here. Anyway. I just want to see how those Troll Hammers do at knocking him down. Gromby, we just moved your rearguard Heldar is fine. Rearguard Asgal. I'll level them up between the episodes. Grundrek, you. Let's do your last stand, shall we? Ooh, it would be a waste to... well, you're probably not going to win this, so... yeah, let's do your last stand. I've got to use these guys for something. Plus, if we reduce the number of rats, although I'd wager we probably won't be able to kill off any units because we can't chase them, admittedly. But at the same time, if we reduce the number of rats, it'll make it more difficult for them to take Spite Peak, because we need 2 more turns in order to go over here. And the other option is to do this, and go to Spite Peak. And if you get intercepted, then you fight. This will keep the place safe, and allow you to move over. You know what? It's probably the better thing to do. Let's do this. You didn't get intercepted. Let's see if these guys dare to attack it or not. Or whether they go past you. If they stay here, keep raiding, probably safe in numbers, then next turn we can attack them. Before the army disappears. This way we're still keeping track of, you know, important moves for this army, and you can't reach it. Alright, fine. Go right up to USAC camp. That should be a free occupy, and a nice little territory for these guys, and then we'll move north into the mountains against the Withered Eye Greenskins. Now, before I forget, okay, we need to take a look at another army. You, Gautry Holdfast. What do we have in terms of Grudge Settlers? We have the 1 Flame Cannon, which I guess could go to King Azrael. I guess the main issue with this... oh, this is supposed to go to Thorak. The main issue with this is that he needs space for Grudge Settler Hammers with that Frostfire trait. So I'll think about it. Brugard doesn't need to move for obvious reasons. Dwinbar Ranulfson has already moved. Rearguard doesn't need to move, and I'll evolve you later. Kalon Ungrim, you do need to move. You are going to besiege Grom Peak. We'll see if these guys march stance to try to save it. And I'm willing to bet they will. Almost 100% sure, because it's already a Pyrrhic victory if we just fight this, with 2 armies against this one, and they shouldn't be too scared. So, let's level up and let's get to it. Join my legend. Oh, it's only one attacking. Fair enough. Not like these guys don't hit plenty hard. You have a Zuli, so you can be resolute, I guess, and hard to hit. And then I think I took out the one that would cause... yeah, the one that would cause an issue with the desyncs. We're probably not going to keep this guy in this army because we don't have need for him, but, well, get Distinguished Slayer for now. Anyway, Runesmith. We really need Rune of Oath and Steel. There's other good stuff like Armor and Rune of Wrath and Ruin, but I absolutely need Rune of Oath and Steel for these Slayers, and we'll most likely need another one of those guys. And oh! There's 2 armies here, oh my! Huh, okay, Ogrim, you might be in trouble, bud. I'm a little bit curious to see whether this guy'd be willing to fight this. It'll be a sort of 15 versus 16 units, but I'm certainly willing to give it a shot. Might be a fun fight. Let's get you Invoke Runes of Grugne, and then let us... well, that's all we got, actually. What about you? You have increased mobility, you have Sapper, you can't get Ballistics Calibration, so let's get you Deadeye now. And see if this guy's willing to fight. Just to see him off, and then we'll have to loop back southward towards Mount Gunbad. Again, this isn't a real army, it's just sort of units moving around together, and they will fight, but... well, I don't know, I think it still might be worth our time because we haven't had the chance to fight with Slayer Pirates before. Quick save because of the instability, and... engagement threshold, 300 likes and 50 comments, hour long, etc, etc. Don't forget the likes and comments below. Go. Alright, here we go. Ooh, I just had an idea. The armed caravan with bugmans can be war wagons and Slayer pirates, and obviously bugman's rangers. Yes, good, Ruinous, good. These guys do like their booze as well, I'm sure. Granted, they won't be buffed to the degree that a Slayer Lord would buff them unless we make Bugman take the Slayer Oath, but I don't think that's the right move. Though on the other hand, what Lord would we make Bugman? I don't think he'd look like a regular Dwarf Lord. Frankly, Guildmaster seems probably the most appropriate for him. Yeah, most likely we'll make Bugman a Guildmaster. I feel like that, I feel like he'd look more like an engineer, wouldn't he? Maybe it's just my perception, but anyway, I'll think about it, and if anybody has any other suggestions for Bugman's armored caravan or armed caravan army, we'll see. I think the wagons will look good as the sort of merchant caravan type of unit. Otherwise, I do land ships, but we could put a couple land ships in another army because I think they'll work nicely elsewhere as well. Maybe with Belegar, for example. Something. Anyway, yeah, as I was saying before, we may not have, or we're not perhaps going to have Malachi do the debut for the Slayer Pirates, but, well, who knows, he might fight later in the episode. But we gotta debut those Slayer Pirates anyway. And we're waiting for the enemy to arrive, but in the meantime, I'm going to bombard the enemy as best we can with our Grudge Throwers, specifically targeting what enemy units of tight formations, like the Night Goblin Archers, that we can, especially range units, as we don't want them killing off too many of our Slayers there. Alrighty, it looks like our Slayers will fire back a little bit at the enemy Goblin Wolf Rider Archers. Gonna also drop a few Trollhammer torpedoes upon them. Oh, I really love the look of the Trollhammer torpedoes dropping amongst the loose formation of the Wolf Riders. That looks pretty neat. Because some of them miss, but then, well, obviously some of them don't. Generally speaking, pretty cool. Though that, of course, is not going to be their main target, as we've got an enemy Savage Giant moving in, and the Trollhammer torpedoes will be far too busy trying to bring the big boy down. That's what they're for, after all. That's alright, though. We got Quarrelers working together with the Slayer Pirates, and I guess that might be a sort of a, not a prelude, but a, well, prelude preview of what a Bugman's army might look like in combination with the War Wagons, which in SFO, I believe, have that restock ammunition ability, which is just nice. Alright, ooh, some Pump Wagons move on in just as the Night Goblins arrive. Good for them. breaking the formation that we had going. Oh, this is also technically our first Doom Anvil Lord, Anvil of Doom. Huh. And we got him in a Confed. Nice. And here comes the big boy. The giant has arrived with 50% of his HP remaining after the ministrations of those troll hammer torpedoes. And the battle is well and fully joined. We've got the Slayers over on the left flank who have just obliterated a unit of nasty skulkers like nobody's business. Some miners can hold off some unit of night gobos, but we can always fire into their flanks with the Slayer pirates as needed. And plus, if we transfer these Slayer pirates to Bugman, then the pirates will not have gone to waste, since we want to rebuild them in order to take advantage of some of the bonus armor that we get from a high-tier workshop. I'll think about it. 10 armor isn't really a big deal, but, you know, it depends on how much other armor we need. Anyway, trolls have made it past our front line, but unfortunately, the second line is the Slayer pirates. And they may not be as strong in melee and anti-large as the regular Slayers are, but they should still be able to handle themselves, equip themselves fairly well against those trolls. Snorri Nosebiter probably really wishes that he was here to both debuff and, you know, kill as many trolls as he can. Anyway, looks like those pump wagons broke in our back. Fortunately, we are fairly decently equipped to deal with pump wagons. Sure, they'll charge in, and oh wow, the Slayer pirates did take damage, but they can also keep gunning down those pump wagons as well. I've said it before, but I really like the type of unit that the Slayer pirates are. It's why I love Free Company Militia. And we can certainly use them in armies that aren't necessarily dedicated to them as well, because they provide a lot of potential value. They're also good at chasing enemies, they're quick, and they can fire while moving, and they can fire in all directions, so that they always make a nice secondary line. You can have an armored front line, a second line with the pistol units, and then the third line with your actual guns and such. And like I said, I do absolutely intend to make a few generalist armies with varying different compositions. After the the themed armies that I really want to try out are up on the field, we'll switch to a little bit more different types of generalist armies. And by generalist armies, I just mean unit armies with, you know, more units mixed together than the usual 2, 3, well, rarely 2, but usually 3 or 4 units that are mixed in themed armies. Anyway, with that, the enemy army breaks, and the Slayer pirates will hold and defeat the enemy with, well, a little bit in the way of losses, but honestly not that much in the way of damage. A few of our units went down to about 50% HP in terms of their unit losses, but that's more than acceptable, as this isn't really an army, just a bunch of random troops we got from the Confed, so pretty happy with it. Alright, there we go. Just a small fight, but, well, you know, even sort of numbers, and it was a nice proper debut for the Slayer Pirates, even if not under Malachi, and not buffed up by a Slayer Lord, so yeah, do like the, well, you got, well, those of you who have watched my Imperial campaigns before know how much I love Free Company Militia, so go figure I like the Slayer Pirates as well. Anyway, we will take the execute and loot again, all the money we can get. The rest of this unit or this army will run away towards Thorgrim, and will most likely back these guys up when they move in. But that's fine. Or Ungrim, rather. Everybody, something grim. Anyway, you try to move them towards it, and we'll see whether Ungrim survives the next battle. Alright, who's up next? Who still needs to move this particular turn? I think I checked Guthrie Holdfast. He's one of the units that is just standing there, ready to transfer. Yeah, that's fine. Rearguard Holdfast, you're fine. Dwinbar, you're fine. And is there anybody? Tech Thieves. Oh, I forgot about the Tech Thieves. How could I forget the Tech Thieves? I guess you're just going to try to move through Block Army. There's nothing else that would help you here, and maybe scout out a little bit further by moving towards these guys. Most likely this little orky. Oh, critical failure! Come on, man. We have not been able to get Tech Thievery up and running through the course of this campaign, like at all, have we? Oh well. Specialist into Steel Tech into Block Army. Probably nothing else of use here to us. You guys have the architect trait as well, but you don't have the, you know, the equivalent trait here, so it doesn't really matter. I guess we could get wound if somebody comes after you and then nothing else helps you on field, so just start moving through, I guess, architect, maybe? Go for it, why not? Please don't critically fail like the other guy did. At least you have a higher rate of success due to your level, most likely. Alright, you did a good job. Unlike the other guy who has shamed his ancestors and may be forced to become a Slayer hero. If he fails again, we just whatchamacallit. Delete him. Oh, I wish I remembered what his original name was, to get a Demon Slayer up and running in his name. Anyway, what else do we have in terms of what we gotta do this turn? Let's check Diplo, then we'll do buildings, and we'll end the turn. Alright, what do we have here? The Greybeard's Prospectors, down to one single pathetic hold, as befits the worst faction in the entire game. Ever since their inception, everyone has been disgusted by them. I am not biased against them in any way, it's just facts. Pure, unadulterated facts. Anyway, either they get wiped out or we wipe them out ourselves when we move down there. Never to be mentioned again. What do we have here? So the Night Avengers of Brion do want that defensive alliance now, which we could do. We could... Oh, I was wanting a defensive alliance with Sigmarsheim. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Welcome, ancient ally.
And give us vision up here in Bretonnia and keep acting as our trading partner, so that's fine. Plus, it's more sort of factions that we could potentially rack up allegiance points now that we got that tech that will increase the... oh, they could do a military alliance. Generally speaking, I've been doing sort of main factions, military alliance, minor factions, defensive alliances. I don't know whether we should change that or not. We'll keep it as it is for now, but I might make some alterations as we go. Cult of Ulrich, I'd love to trade with you, man, but, you know, you're not ready for it because you're holding territory that might be ours. Daughters of the Forest, same kind of situation. I mean, granted, if they don't take any of the mountain realms, then we don't care. Maybe we should just do a defensive alliance with them just for the vision, if nothing else. Maybe it will be worth it. Alright, fine. We could always, you know, call a grudging and... Oh, wow. Okay, you know what? We'll do that when they're actually willing to pay us. The High King demands his due. And I think that's about it. We're not going to peace out with anybody, including poor Scarby. Hopefully he's back next turn. I don't want to wait too long, but he does have a faction-wide buff, so, you know, it is somewhat worth our time. Now, the important stuff. We are going to go briefly through the deeps to check them out, what's missing. You, for example, repurposed guild foundries. No deeps here. Yes, deeps here. We are not doing this right now because of the oath gold cost is absolutely psychotic. No deeps here, no deeps here. Oh, there was another thing I wanted to... Okay, we'll do that in a second as well. You, yes. Is this Karataman's tomb? No, this is Karak-Draj. Okay, so you need the repurposed counting room and the repurposed guild foundries. We can build another one here, but we're not going to build anything in these two places until we max this out. I think it's a bug that's revealing them all, so I'm not going to take advantage of it, as it seems odd. Anyway, you can do, I guess, the underdeep trade routes for now. Alright, good. Any other places? Oh, wow, the deeps cost a lot to invest in, but it is what it is, so you can actually do the same thing. Wait, actually you can't. We need to actually build you. Alright. Build that. So we don't cheese it. I'm pretty sure it's a bug, unless somebody might have an idea and it isn't, and please let me know. Anyway, Tower of Crack, you're fine. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of other buildings and territories that we need to invest in, but let's wait on that a bit. Wait. Grimfang, you have deeps as well. Aha! Almost missed you. Okay, wait. That was Grimfang. The last was Karak-Draj, right? Yeah. Wait, Karak-Azul. Oh, yeah, we're waiting on you. Alright, so Grimfang, yes. Mount Silverspear. We will do repurposed guild foundries. So we did get you up to tier 2, which was the main thing, and then we'll do the, you know, underdeep mine here, and the repurposed counting room here. But, rather than do more... Wait, did I do the... Wait. Okay, I did do the recruitment, okay. Everything's fine, nobody panic. Wait, do we have Master Engineer capacity? Still no. Which is a shame. Especially with those tech thieves that aren't being useful, but, you know. Karataman's Tomb, we'll want to upgrade you to the next tier so that we don't take advantage, and then that's it, that's all we can do. We can upgrade you. Exotic animal market. Can upgrade you. Well, we'll wait. We'll wait. Alrighty. I guess that's another end turn, so we'll skip. I just said skip before I actually started skipping. It's it's ingrained deep into my mind now. Every turn and every campaign, since that's what I say. But anyway. Oh, our hiking decrees are starting to climb, though. Meaning we can maybe get some of those magma caverns up and running shortly. Anyway, let's end the turn. Let's see if anybody attacks us. It looks like Throggy will indeed attack us with a massive number of Fimir Stalkers. That should keep this battle particularly interesting due to the fact that Fimir Stalkers, well, are in stock, and thus we cannot kill them with our Corlers or our various bolt throwers from range, and I'm going to have to do it in melee. Should be an interesting one. Let's have Grimly bring down the Lord of Trolls. Alrighty, here we go. Love seeing those bolt throwers sail, or the bolts sail overhead as we get ready for this fight. It's going to be an interesting one, I'd wager. The enemy army is essentially built to counter ours. Almost, well, I don't know how many exactly. I haven't made a count. We got 4 in the reinforcing army and what, like 8 units of Fimir Stalkers, 6 to 8 in the main stack. It's actually looking like more than 6. Yeah, 6 to 8 of them. So yeah, more than a half a stack full of Fimir Stalkers, and thus we're not going to be able to target them. B, Fimir Stalkers have the From the Mist passive ability, giving them a 25% missile resistance buff as well. So they'll be able to close the distance, and even when they reach us, they're not going to be nearly as susceptible to missile fire. We do have to wait around. We got a pretty cool looking little dwarven formation. I just really enjoyed just putting our units into formation. One of the fun parts of playing dwarfs and sort of imperial type factions. And just because we can. And we just have the various units of Longbeards protecting the main line, with the shielded Corlers up front because they have a much higher melee defense due to their presence of the shields, and then the great weapons behind them. They'll all probably have to work on dealing with the enemy Fimir, however, as that's where the battle will be decided. And there is a Fimir Mirch and a Fimir Balefiend moving in as well. I believe both are shadows as well, and thus the Shadowcasters will be spending plenty of Melkoth's Mystifying Miasmas, which are pretty devastatingly damaging in SFO, to hit our, well, whatever units they end up using them on. Anyway, time for our bolt throwers to get to work. They are going to be targeting the enemy single entities, the Skinwolf Werekin, Throg himself, and the Feral Manticore, as the enemy moves towards us. And it looks like the shield here, at least, or the hill is no shield, as the enemy is not able to dodge that fire. Looks like we have the firing arc is just good enough. Huh, interesting to see. Throg is dodging these shots, but the Skinwolf and the Manticore aren't. Interesting. Manticore is now enraged, though, and Throggy will continue dodging those shots. Once again, it does make sense for him, as the rest of the enemy army continues moving forward. Huh. That's certainly more than Skarbrand did, and at this rate, well, they're not going to be able to bring Throg down from a distance. Can't say the same for the enemy Skinwolf Werekin, which is down to about 30% of its HP, and I think it's going to break rather shortly, especially as the Corlers are now targeting it, and it's down to 10% of its HP. Down goes the Skinwolf, and Throg sighting what happened to its minion. Ah, there's the Melkoths coming in on both of our Longbeards here. The Manticore will fall as well. Getting in a little bit of a range shootout now as the enemy cavalry arrives, and the enemy Marauder Hunters with javelins move on in and start pelting away at our already damaged Longbeards. spell-stricken Longbeards, I should say. In a normal battle, we'd be able to move out. Ooh, some throwing axes moving in and joining those javelins, hitting the grumbling guard. But anyway, in a normal battle, what would happen is we would be moving the Longbeards out to fight the enemy directly, not letting the Marauder Hunters with javelins, certainly, just pelt away at them. Unfortunately, as we have no idea where the enemy Fimir Stalkers are, and they have high damage dealing, armor-piercing, bleeding damage, we have to stay here and protect the Quarrelers. On the bright side, though, the Fimir Mirg has moved in and gotten a few heavy hits from Grimly, down to about 60% of her HP now. And as soon as the Matriarch falls, we will be moving towards the Bale Fiend, who is moving in as well. Alright, the Mirg is out, the Bale Fiend is in, and we're going to switch targets while we try to gun the Mirg down. In the meantime, the Fimir Stalkers have arrived and are going to be hitting our left and right flank simultaneously, while the single unit of Longbeards on the left flank has managed to hold out two of the units of Fimir Stalkers, or at least pin them in place, and the other Fimir Stalkers simply went around and are now going after our Quarrelers, which was always going to be the case. Our Longbeards are still holding, but just barely so. The Grumbling Guard down to about 20% of their HP, and Throg still moving in. Grimly has sighted the big boy, and it's hammer on hammer here as they both charge on in, though Throg at this point has taken severe damage from our Quarrelers and our bolt throwers, and will at last be brought down, not having achieved all that much. The bell tolls for the King of Trolls, and we move on to... oh man, that's still a lot of Fimir on our flanks. Alright, just gonna have to do our best to hold. Fortunately, those Melkoths that so damaged us are no longer in play, since the enemy casters are more or less out. I think one is still alive. Oh, okay, there it goes. It just died as I unhid the menu. Or the UI, rather. But there's still plenty of Fimir Stalkers. Taking a fair bit of damage from the enemy Marauder Hunters with javelins as well. Not a crazy amount of kills, but the damage is still there. 10 Grumbling Guard kills on these guys is still pretty solid as well, in the 5,000-6,000 in damage. And just barely managed to hold. What are these guys? Missile resistance 10%. Today we may want to look into getting a missile resistance Sora if we have one available of some kind. A drum would also give us additional armor to allow these guys to take range hits in the situations where they need to. Anyway, still lots and lots of Fimir to hack our way through. The AI does seem to consider, or to treat the Fimir Stalkers almost like a pseudo-cav unit. They're obviously not cav, but it seems to like to charge them in, get a few hits in, apply that bleed, and then charge out, cycle charging them essentially. Which is kind of an interesting behavior for a infantry unit to see from the AI. I wonder it uses the unit like that. Wait, Fimir Stalkers are small entity sizes? Those are not small entity sizes, are they? I mean, they're twice the height of a dwarf. Or does it make a comment on dwarves? And Fimir are really, really hunched. And obviously regular Fimir are monstrous infantry, but I guess... I mean, you could keep these guys infantry, but I still feel like they should probably be counted as large units. They're pretty big. And they've also got a lot of mass on them. But anyway, the balance of power has finally shifted to 100% in our favor, and we do manage to see those Fimir off. Our front line, essentially, took a lot of damage, and a little bit of damage to our Quarrelers, especially the ones on the left flank where the Fimir were able to move in. But at the end of the day, we were able to defeat them with our formation and hold them back. Really fun fight. Alrighty, there we go. A really fun fight and a very different one by virtue of the fact that it's almost like Throg, being the intelligent troll that he is, designed his army to fight Grimleys with those stalkers and their ability to close the distance. Whereas if he had gone with a full troll complement, the units of regular-sized crossbows and the Quarrelers alike would have obliterated the trolls no problem. Very, very interesting. Good job, Throg. Though he had to suffer the indignity of dancing around while dodging our quarrels and bolts throughout the course of that battle before ultimately being brought down by Grimly. A lovely, lovely fight. Really enjoying this particular army, and I can't wait to see more of it. We are technically in our own territory, so we will also execute and loot. And as for the bolts, looks like the ones on the left flank did the most, with the regular-sized crossbows leading, and at, one of the unnamed units of Corlers did the most damage. I'm gonna have to get you a name now. Alright. Alright. Anyway, for now, execute and loot.
Why is there groby scum in my presence?
Alrighty, there it is, as suspected, or at least as partially suspected. I was expecting the main stack to attempt to attack Ungrim, not merely the settlement garrison together with the remnants of Karaka's army. But that's fine by me, and I'm sure it's fine by Ungrim. Let's see the Slayer King and his slayers hew down the orcs, and including the black orcs. Should be pretty fun. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Ungrim, Iron Fist, and Snorri Nosebiter, plus a ton of various kinds of slayers on the field at last. And yes, we still do need to reset Ungrim, but I want these orcs out so that we can reset him properly. Tattoos on the Brotherhood of Grimnir looking pretty darn fantastic and really glowy. These guys are pretty flashy compared to the regular tattoos of the other units. And Giant Slayers moving in as well, ready to bonk or I don't know, slice, hack, slash, etc. With those great weapons of theirs. And we'll see how the enemy army handles itself. The enemy garrison is going to be the reinforcing army, and it looks like this first army has a fair few of the units of Wolf Rider archers or chariots or just basically missile cav that we really can't do anything about with our own army, can we? And there's probably no way that we can catch them. Ooh, we also got the Dragonback Slayers in this army as well. Huh. I think with the green pants that they've got, they might actually match Slayer Pirates pretty well, interestingly enough. But because the Slayer Pirates, they have the booze bottles with them. No, nonetheless, I still think that all of the melee elite units should be in this particular army, though these guys do fire damage, but they're also a stronger unit, generally speaking, so yeah. Plus, we'll need a regular Slayer unit to lead our Grudge Settler Slayers when we have them in higher numbers. Anyway, looks like still getting annoyed by the enemy missile cav, who are just riding along our lines, plunking away at our units. I'm gonna have to try to take those shots as we have no missile resistance on these guys currently. And I did try to chase down that Goblin Wolf Rider archers by popping a Master Rune of Slowness, which is a minus 60% speed reduction, but it's still not enough to catch them. 44 speed on the Slayers and 50 on the Goblin Wolf Riders. Funnily enough, if Grumbrundle was leading this army, the Slayers would have caught those slowed down units no problem. Anyway, the first of the enemy army, as in the non-garrison army that is out here, will move on in. And Trolls will smash into the line. Snorri Nosebiter will lead the first of our units of Giant Slayers and Doomseekers into them. And the Orcs, while the enemy garrison starts moving on to the map. I do wager we should be able to bring down these Trolls before the enemy army's reinforcements arrive. And it looks like the Trolls fall under the press of Slayers. Also, for whatever reason, the Missile Cav decided to actually charge on in, which works perfectly well for me. No more taking arrows to the back. Probably not the kind of doom that a Slayer would want, just taking a random arrow to the back from a gobbo on a wolf. I wonder. The Slayer Oath is to die, but I'm wondering whether the manner of death can be one that shames their ancestors. Like in that particular case. But anyway, For now, here come the trolls, and there's a lot more where that came from. Black orcs, biggins, etc., etc. It's a proper garrison, and they're moving on. And unfortunately, it's rather dark in the forest here, so we're going to back off. Frankly, it's actually more advantageous to fight in the forest because we would be able to debuff the enemy trolls and boar boys and stuff, but I want to actually see the action. So, yeah, now, this was about 2/3 of our slayers. We also have another little blob of slayers led by our dragon slayer here in the forest. These guys are hidden, waiting until the main enemy army engages to loop around and start cutting down all those orc error boys, as, well, somebody has to. Anyway, here come the main enemy line, the Black Orcs and the Biggins, the Trolls have moved on in. I'm going to start whirling around with those Doom Seekers of ours, hoping to do a decent bit of damage to the enemy units of infantry at the very least. Probably not the most effective ability against the boar boys. It does look pretty fun, though. I do think that they should, that the devs should modify the ability so it doesn't exactly happen at the same time, in the sense that it looks a little bit weird when all of the Doom Seekers just start whirling simultaneously. It's too simultaneous, you know, there should be just like a slight staggering of the way in which they start to make it look a little bit more immersive or realistic, whatever. I demand realism from my Warhammer games, damn it. Anyway, the battle's engaged. Tactically, there isn't much to say about this one. And frankly, I mean, it's a Slayer army, so it may tactically not have too much to say about it unless we run into an army where we have to split our army considerably, our own army considerably. For now, they just gotta do the old brawl. Alright. And the Doom Seekers, specifically the Brotherhood of Grimnir, looking pretty fantastic as they fight. And together with those Dragon Slayers as well, and the enemy's numbers are starting to dwindle on the front lines. Admittedly, we've taken damage as well here. The Doom Seekers are down to half of their number and a quarter of their HP. Ungrim is still leading from the front, but Ungrim will be fine. He's just an insanely strong lord, even without any points in his red line. Otherwise, or in his yellow line, whatever, his fighty line. Otherwise, we have managed to loop around the enemy and the reinforcing Slayers, and that have waited to reach their doom, have arrived and are now smashing all of those units of enemy archers asunder as well, and the occasional boar boy that got caught out trying to defend those archers. Even though that doesn't sound like something a greenskin would do anyway. Alright, and the brawl continues, and we'll reconsolidate some of our units into a small blob and start them back in. Generally speaking, something that you may want to do in armies like this with the smaller number of units among the Doom Seekers and the Giant Slayers. Oh, another spin to win. There we go. They're really fun to watch, though. Anyway, when your units start taking a lot of damage, you can either rotate them out completely, but then that doesn't seem appropriate for a Slayer, or you could intersperse them among each other so that each individual unit doesn't suffer as much damage. It works a little better that way. And works clearly well enough to deal with these orcs as the balance of power shifts to about 90% in our favor. The enemy's front line has now completely collapsed, and I think the last of their units, the untouchable Goblin Wolf Rider archers that we just can't chase down, and whatever other units are too fast, will shatter, and thus Ungrim's first battle, the Slayer's first fight, is a nice little victory. Certainly we took damage, but we should always expect damage on the Slayers, and we will adjust the army to make sure that it will be a little bit tankier. At least Ungrim's Slayers will be tankier. A little bit of that armor, a little bit from the sharpened weapons and hardened armor, and then maybe a little bit of a war drum. Maybe a few other things. I don't know if there's other ways to acquire armor. Also got to put runes of armor maybe on Snorri and on Gotrek and whatever dragon slayers we have around. But anyway, for now, we're going to do our best to chase enemies down, and because it's a Slayer army, our best is pretty good. Everything except the cavalry should be destroyed, and possibly the trolls. All right, very, very nice debut. I guess it's a Slayer episode, a bit of MOHAWK madness as the Slayer pirates and now the regular Slayers, or variants of melee Slayers, all got to play. Pretty darn fun. We weren't able to chase down all the enemy cav and the trolls and all that, but hardly surprising. They may be able to pump those dwarfen legs, they may be fast for a dwarf, but they're not that fast. At least compared to... Oh man, imagine Slayer. Imagine if Grimbrindle, if we used Grimbrindle instead of leading the Iron Drakes and stuff, imagine if we used Slayers with him. They'd be running at like, I don't know, 70 speed? Something along those lines, 70 or 80 speed. Ooh, you know what, next time I play Dwarfs, I think I'm gonna give Grimbrindle Slayers, or at least half Slayers. Maybe some Doomseekers and Giant Slayers, just to see how that goes. Anyway, we're gonna have to auto-resolve this, as in what remains here, so we'll have to heal up. Alright, Summon besieged Spite Peak, which is that Clan Scryer has confederated Clan Carrion? Okay, I wasn't expecting that. That's interesting. Is it still Clan Carrion here? Why did Scryer, who are all the way out here with their massive empire, confederate the clan around Nagashazar? Unless Nagashazar has been given to a different clan. Quite interesting. It's inevitable that we have to fight them anyway. Oh wow, this guy, this guy almost died. He's got 254 HP, but not to worry, he'll be getting his last stand here in a second. He'd run, right? Queek would run, right? I was wondering whether we should just give up on Gordonar's lair and go for this, but probably not. And let's wipe out Arbal. Enemy killed in battle, enemy killed in battle. Troll Hunter for Grimly. And more weapon strength for him, that's nice. Kidnapper, Assault Expert for Joseph of Zorn. Ally begins outpost constructions. Ambush foiled of Joseph of Zorn. Another Troll Slayer, ready for duty, some guy and some other guy. And technology researched, good. Bonus engineers, I don't think we have enough for... Okay, you don't need that dwarven tattoos. Bonus engineers... But I don't think we have sufficient engineers to, you know, build engineers. I'm wrong. We do have a full sufficient one. Alright, so entrenched... Okay, wait, we gotta figure out who needs these engineers. I know that the gun army... Does the gun army not have a single one? Where's the gun army? It's down here somewhere, alright. We got this little Skaven army raiding this, but there's no way that we can catch them. We could cancel these guys and then catch them after they run. It's not like it's costing us anything because these are global recruits. Alright, fine. You know what? Do this. Then Thorgrim. Wait, join this guy in this army anyway. Thorgrim, you're gonna attack this. This guy will run, I presume, this way? Let's actually see, because it's the way that Thorgrim seems to be attacking him is kind of weird looking. Okay, yeah, he's gonna advance this way. Not that far though. So close. And then you will just be able to reach him, which is great. He will not then be able to global recruit this turn, I guess, but it's all good. You'll get there, bud.
Time for a reckoning.
Time for a reckoning. As it always is. What time is it? Reckoning time. Quick save and auto-resolve for obvious reasons. And, hey, another war banner. Don't really care for the long shot cap, but we'll certainly take the war banner. And you can, I guess, get the money and the tiny amounts of oath gold. Alright, enemy killed in battle. You are not keeping the war banner. I'd like to put these on thunder barges in place of Lichbone pennants, which we don't have enough of right now. Are you able to go into a camp stance? Nah, sadly you're not. Alright, that's fine. Standard of Discipline, Thorgrim Grudgebearer. Okay, you definitely don't need that. You're waiting for a Lichbone pennant, or possibly other aura stuff. You can then... Wait. You're gonna get your Thane. May as well get the Thane now. You need 2 engineers. You only have the 1 available to you right now, but we might as well get 1 up and running since you don't have any. Metal Slinger might be good for you. We don't need the entrenched one, so we'll get you. Alright, you got the Thane now. Still need a 2nd engineer. Wait, you have Runesmith and Thane, so yeah, just 2 engineers. And then 3 of these guys. Wait, what am I forgetting? Oh, he already had the Runesmith. Somebody was yelling at their screen because I had forgotten that guy already had that Yeah. My bad. Thorgrim, you can't go into any stance. You're gonna go this way anyway. You got these orcs to work on. Ooh. Now that does put a smile on my face. We got, what, 3 stacks plus the garrison? Maybe if we just jump down here instead. I am sorely tempted by it. Also, we get a bunch of lords that were brought back. So let's take, for example, this guy, Sundram Cromson. I assume you have nothing for, you gotta be reset eventually anyway. Get you Root Marcher, but more importantly, we'll use you to globally recruit the rest of the Thunderers. Alright, and we are at 17, 18, 19, 20, yeah, okay, so we'll be missing 1 Thunderer. And that way we can recruit another one with you, but you can just do it. And then the gun armory will be complete. Lovely to see. You're gonna fight in a second, your last stand on the very last turn of your last stand, which is just fantastic. Just so Zorn, but we're gonna do it in order this time, because I have a bad habit. Ooh. Do you guys want to fight? It's still a lot of gobos. It's kind of weak, though, comparatively to what Joseph of Zorn has been able to take out, so I'm kind of mad on it. I will consider it. You know what? Let's see if this guy runs. If they're willing to fight in the field... Yeah, they're willing to fight. Alright, fine, why not? It's been a couple of turns since Joseph of Zorn's last fight. I don't imagine these guys have any kind of chance, because it's just piles of forest goblins, unless they have stock. I don't think they do, though. Actually, they do. Huh. Okay, well, we're going to then need to use the gyrocopters and brimstone guns to act as spotters for the rest of our army. Sure thing, go. Alrighty, here we go. The Fire Army is back and ready for more with the somewhat appropriate Dark Lands / Chaos Dwarfen Signs of Industry, which still look absolutely fantastic, just hovering up above. As the Jartrum clan has a sort of origin in the Dark Lands as well. It does make sense for them to be fighting here. Well, like I said, almost like a sort of Dark Angels kind of situation with the 40k, where perhaps they seek to expunge some of the secret and some of the shame aspect of their origins. On the other hand, compared to the cowardly Dowie Jar that stayed, the Jartrum clan did cross back over out of the Darklands and into the mountains, which was supposed to be too dangerous, so I don't know. Maybe there's nothing for them to be ashamed about at all. Well, maybe the mutation on some of their ancestors, but we don't talk about that anyway. We've got to start the battle. Forest goblins are going to be on the menu second, because the enemy lord that was out here was on the menu first and has already been destroyed. We are deployed pretty far back, obviously not all the way to the edge of the map. We're going to leave plenty of space for the enemy to get around us, if they can. But we do want the enemy to take all the time in the world to approach us. We got that massive range on stone with your name here, across about a little bit over half the map, I'd say. It's pretty darn good. And then pretty decent range on the flame cannons as well. And of course, the harassment that the enemy army will undergo while approaching us due to our brimstone guns and our 2 engineers. The 2 engineers will return to our main line, of course, once hey, don't fire into your own gyrocopters. Return to the main line once ready. And just to drop those ballistics calibrations on everybody, but until then, they can help harass the enemy army and drop the occasional ballistics calibration on the brimstone guns as well. Alrighty, and who are they firing at, you may wonder in the midst of all this? It's the enemy lord. We don't want the great shaman casting that vindictive glare on the enemy units, or on our units. It can cast vindictive glare on their own units all it wants. Oh, and it's doing a good job dodging those brimstone guns, every single shot going wide, and yeah, the AI is really microing this little guy. It seemed to have been sort of stopping and then going and stopping and going repeatedly. Just kind of an interesting way to do it, kind of the same type of way that a player might be dodging arrow type fire. But I guess it works just as well against brimstone guns. Alrighty, unfortunately not well enough, as the enemy Goblin Great Shaman will break. Should have probably tried the old Vindictive Glare on our flyers instead. That's alright though, the enemy has plenty of units and it looks like it's going to try the old arrow to the gyrocopter instead. Although how effective that'll be remains to be seen. These guys have 130 armor, 25% missile resistance as well, which is pretty darn solid. And we're going to speed this up a little bit while we fly around. And then drop a few more brimstone gunshots into whatever enemies we can find. The targets, of course, will be the large units because that's what the brimstone guns are specialized at doing. We've already seen them destroy pump wagons, chariots, cavalry in the past, many a time. And I'd wager they'll do the same just as well here. And yeah, one of the really nice things about having a sort of widespread empire all across the map is basically, what, we got 6-7 battles in this particular episode so far, and every single one has been with a different army, right? It's great to see. Keeps everything nice and variety-full. And if eventually we start fighting things like elves and stuff, it'll be a little bit more variety in terms of the enemy types. But it does make sense to be fighting a lot of Greenskin and Skaven and Chaos as the Dwarfs. And those guys are kind of a problem for them after all. Anyway, and at least until we're still reclaiming the mountain realms, once the Karaz Ankor is whole, we can head down to the lowlands and do stuff there. Of course, we do still have to get engaged with the sort of massive empires that Clan Scryer and, well, Clan Moulder doesn't appear to be much further than the Helpit itself, but Clan Pestilence and Scryer both appear to hold massive amounts of territory in Bretonnia. And by the time we get to them, they'll probably have a lot of elite armies running around. They'll periodically be losing their armies to fighting the Bretonians and the Wood Elves, but at the same time, since they're still gaining territory, those armies will be constantly rebuilt with higher ranked units, which is always nice to see. Anyway, as we can see, our brimstone guns are doing pretty good. The unit of Boar Boys is pretty much destroyed. And since the brimstone guns are specialized at this, they do this even quicker than the Grudge Settler, Trollhammer torpedo types. Anyway, enemy army still moving towards us, and let's see, it looks like they are just about to get into range of the flame cannons. They are nowhere near the rest of our army as yet, though the stone with your name has, has taken a lot of names. 201 kills and 17k damage so far. Here come the flames. And with regards to the enemy Gobos, well, the Gobos have absolutely no chance of resisting this. Not enough missile resistance, not enough armor, not enough HP, fragile units with tight formations. They will die in droves as they attempt to approach. They should perhaps be somewhat used to fire in the Darklands, but, well, it doesn't look like they are. Absolutely brutal. Honestly, this is kind of what it should feel like to fight the Chaos Dwarfs as well. I still find it very strange that Chaos Dwarfs don't have flamethrower units. We have a cool, better flamer-type army than Chaos Dwarfs do, and it makes no sense to me. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it does. I just feel like the Chaos Dwarfs deserve some Flamer units. But anyway, in the meantime, speaking of Flamer units, they are racking up a fearsome tally among those goblins, and by virtue of the proximity of our units of brimstone guns, they're acting as spotters, and the enemy is unable to move while hidden. We've moved our units of Master Engineers back to hover over the rest of our armies, as they are now providing that ballistics calibration on everybody, and giving them additional accuracy, range, and reload skill. It's a pretty solid buff. It's such a solid buff that it feels like it's a waste to go for the shotgun variant of Master Engineers, because just to get a little bit more damage on the Master Engineer, you have to essentially skip getting the ballistics calibration, which buffs basically every range unit near them. I feel like the shotgun variant should do something else as well, you know what I mean? In addition to since it's at the cost of the ballistics calibration, taking the shotgun, the Berkvar Handshake, should probably have some kind of aura buff or do something. They do get Cinderblast Shell, but frankly, meh. not a huge fan of just magic missiles in general, I guess. But anyway, it looks like the pump wagons have failed to reach us. A few cav units are still attempting to do so, but it's just really not working out for them. Frankly, I think that so far, that was the only enemy unit that has even reached our Drake guns. Okay, there's another one. And yeah, they move in, they reach the Drake guns, they reach the miners that are sitting behind the Drake guns and start checking those blasting charges, and it looks like the cavalry will break, and so will the rest of the Cabo army break as well, having had no real chance to reach the fire army. I mean, this is an army that's specialized in killing just massive blobs of chaff enemies rather than elites, and damn well does it do it well. Alright, there we go. That went about as expected, or about as well as the AI could have expected it to go, which was zero kills. It's a forest goblin faction, it's not an orc faction, so the just piles of forest goblins were never going to be any kind of threat to the fire army. It just wasn't gonna happen. I guess we'll be auto-resolving so we can heal to full, though I am tempted by 100 oath gold. I do readily admit, but I wouldn't want these named miners to die, so we'll attract replacements. Alright, and then we'll take the place for ourselves. I mean, we're starting to get a little bit further into the Darklands than I would have liked to be, but it kind of just sort of happened. So what are you gonna do? Anyway, Joseph Zorn, you could just occupy this site. Take it. You are both named, right? Flames of Karak and Grudadrax Bellow, yes. Alrighty, and then we'll quick save this, and then let it resolve. Come on now. There it is. Oh, basically took no damage. I guess I could have taken the Oath Gold after all. Occupy. Alright, and these guys should be down to one settlement unless I'm mistaken. You guys can party in that refectory in the beer hall for at least a few minutes before we change that up. May as well do this and upgrade it immediately. And then Amda's Lair will be the last settlement to these guys. Are we at war with the Stars of Morcane? We are at war with the Stars of Morcane. Okay, that's annoying because we still have to deal with these guys. Maybe we leave Amdra's Lair, but it would allow them time to recover. But they might not recover quickly. You know what? Don't delete these. Keep the garrison. Maybe we can jump over, grab Darkhold, jump back, and then move. Because otherwise the Sires of Morcane might attack us. Alright, fair enough. Let's pick a new tech. Been meaning to do that. And the tech that we are going to pick, we want to move... Well, now the Way of the Clans is going to... We can wait rather than spending 1,000 oath gold. However, call upon the oldest of old, the grudge settler unit capacity per army, great. Upkeep reduction -10 for all units, known armies, faction-wide, known territory, great. So, let's do, I guess, Retainer's Vows with one turn, then we'll do, I guess, both heavy plate armor and large-scale production, and then most likely the upkeep reduction for the gyro bombers and gyrocopters. We are using a fair bit of them after all. We gotta get 4 techs after all in order to get to Ancestral Tombs, so there's that. We will also want to get Grimnir's Favor relatively soon, because we're now starting to use Slayers, and they could really use all the extra melee defense that they could get. Yeah. Also, the Blasted Vale is the new territory from Mr. You could chase this guy down if you wanted to. Bone Gulch is up here. You know what? Delete this from the... Ooh, wait. We can build the Granary of Plenty. Yes. Alrighty. And might as well upgrade you. Might as well build stuff everywhere. Alright, do that, and then let's start with the Bone Gulch, because it's probably safer. A little bit expensive, but no, what are you gonna do? And then here we should probably build the Trading Depot, but I think we can wait until we've got a little bit of gold to spare. Alrighty, let's get back to doing things in order. From our ball, which was what I was trying to say before I interrupted myself like 16 times and then promptly got confused. You, Ulfar, keep traveling with Sunny Boy. Oh, wait, you're going to bypass this place with the Iron Drake and the Flame Cannon location, meaning this is probably a good place to... Okay, let's also... You know, while you're reducing the costs here. This is probably a good place. Build, and... I just forget which one of these I want first. I guess it doesn't really matter over much, but I'll do that. Anyway, you are going to go for the deep grung. Troll's eggs. Let's build the trading depot. Let's upgrade this cavern. And then what are we missing here? Ooh, we could go for a trading depot here. Oh, you don't have a mine? Okay, now start with the mine, I guess. Alrighty, and then you should probably switch to a High King's Tribute. Frankly, anything about 2k should probably just switch to High King's Tribute anyway, regardless. But anyway, as I was saying, for King Azrael, we could build him some fire stuff. Anyway, since it's the last turn, we want to give the Quarrelers to Thorek, and maybe the Flame Cannon to the King Azrael's army.
Let us begin.
Alright, so let's do that. Flame Cannon, and then that'll be the last of our Grudge Settler units out. We'll also need additional engineers, but we'll deal with that. Ooh, all of our money is dropping rather rapidly. What the heck is this? Really? Against... No dice, buddy. But anyway, we'll deal with that in a second. I just want to deal with Thorek first before I forget. So Thorek, you're going to go to USAC camp, you're going to occupy, and you're going to trade it to the western provinces. We'll quick save it, and then we'll auto-resolve it, because obviously... And then we'll move north to try to meet up with Mr. Kairos Occupy. And then in addition to that, another Trickster Shard. Nice, a Jewel Smith, not bad. Gyrocopter for, is it this guy, Thorgrim? I think not. I think Mr. Thorek would not be super happy with you flying around on a gyrocopter. Not very traditional. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of the last Dwarf Warrior here. And we're going to turn it... Oh, how many turns do we have until the Goblobbers ready? 6, okay, a fair bit. Fair enough. Yeah, we're gonna get the Quarrelers with Great Weapons in here. As in the Grudge Settler variant. Yeah. Are they better in melee at all? They are... maybe? They have 25 melee defense compared to the 41 of these guys. However, they are also not leveled up in any way, so we'll see what they look like once they're leveled. Anyway, Snorri Morgrimal. Keep doing things in order. I guess you're gonna attack this while Durek Grundadrek gets his final fight here. Go here. To Gordonar's Lair, which should be auto-resolvable. And... really? Okay, we've already essentially fought this, essentially battled repeatedly. I'm just going to either manually fight this or do it between the episodes because it's a waste of our time. And I don't want to repeat the same kind of battle against the same kind of foes, especially since this faction is destroyed. Rearguard Iron Pick will ignore you for now. Grimly, you need to hunt down the rest of these guys. Go after you. And, really? Close victory against this? Just do it. Right, quick save it. You know the second I stop that it'll crash. Game. Alright, what do we got in terms of damage? Still a fair bit. I guess the game is still counting us as not having enough of the melee units, but that is what it is. Healing is relatively minimal, but admittedly so is the gold and stuff. Alright, well at least you've chased that army down. You can now chase down Hrek Longshipman. Kind of interesting combination, the Fimir and Mir name with the Longshipman. Ranger Standard. I mean, you can keep it for now. I've been liking to put these types of things on lords and stuff. Go hunt this guy down. And okay, quick save and on resolve, and then this army will be destroyed. This is what remains of Throg's army. We had a nice fight against him, but it doesn't mean we need to do it again. As his armies have been defeated. Ouch. Okay, maybe I jumped the gun a little bit because that was a lot of damage. Take the heal. It's not a lot. I'm wondering whether we'll still be able to auto-resolve Thorshafen. And if we don't, we'll just maybe manually fight this. Oh, yes we will. No, we won't. One of our units of Quarrelers will die. Okay, fine, we'll just do that manually real quick. Or between the episodes, because again, it's a waste of time. Malachi, you're kind of in the same position, I'd wager. Lair of the Troll King, Pyrrhic... Oh! Well, this isn't horrible. They've got some Marauder Champs, a Mammoth. Maybe this is a proper debut for Malachi. Especially since his army's not complete yet. Okay, we'll actually fight this, but let's keep looking through the list. Do we fight the... Do we fight the final fight of Durek Grundadrak, Herrick Grundadrak's son? Right now. which has a couple of Slayers. This has been a very Slayer-heavy episode, so I'm inclined to say maybe we do the debut battle for Malachi instead. We debuted the Slayer Pirates, and Malachi's got more Slayer Pirates after all, so I think that's what we'll do. For what we're gonna get, Tactician will be useful eventually, but for now I think you have more Gyrocopters than those guys, than the Goblin Hewers, so we'll go for the Tradition and Innovation first. Ooh, and we'll get to see the Spirit of Grudgebearer. Assuming that it works. Break open the casks, flash bomb, Deadeye, ballistics calibration always. And I guess we're gonna go for triangulation here. Alright, and again, what are you again? You're entrenched, assuming that we get a couple of engineers into Malachi's army once we take up to them. For now, though, should be a fun little fight. As soon as the game stops saving, go.
The ship may have sunk, and the airship exploded, but bad luck doesn't come in threes.
Alrighty, here we go. Let's see what we can do. It's a Slayer-centric episode after all, so might as well get Malachi in on the fun as well. And well, a little bit of action for the long-drawn Slayer Pirates and the other Slayer Pirates in his army, which should be buffed up significantly more than the other army. Plus, this is the debut battle of our regular Gyrocopters, which we haven't built any of this particular campaign so far, despite using Gyrocopters quite a bit. Of various types, obviously. And these guys are different in that they are anti-infantry Gyrocopters. They're not designed for sniping things or killing large units, so they're going to use that steam expulsion of theirs. That actually looked fairly nice with the Scolder Guard, now that I think about it, to hit those Marauder Hunters with javelins. Gotta knock out the actual threats to the Gyrocopters after all. Not doing a crazy amount of damage, as we can see. The Marauder Hunters with javelins being attacked by 4 units currently, down to about half HP, but, well, we gotta get to work. Besides, it's providing covering fire for the Brimstone guns to work on the enemy Skin Wolves, armored. And these Brimstone guns will be in this army until we can replace them with the 2 Thunder Barges that I want in this army. Things to advance together with the Spirit of Grudgebearer and the Slayers. And the Slayer Engineer, I get. Ooh, I was about to say, he has, what, unhinged munitions? Deranged munitions? And it made me think of the unhinged trait on the Runesmith, so we gotta get an unhinged Runesmith together with Malachi, don't we? Seems like it makes the most sense. Regardless of whether the trait is good or not, it just feels right. Anyway, Malachi, keep on persuading with your persuader, would you? In the meantime, the Gyrocopters continue hunting the enemy range units, both in terms of them being a threat to the air units, being anti-air, and in terms of them being a threat to our Slayer Pirates. Alright, I'm going to take a little bit for the 4 units of Gyrocopters to work on these. I'm sure they'll get a few axes flying our way, but probably insufficient in number, down to about half HP now. And the enemy doesn't have sufficient quantities of anti-air to miss us all that much. I'd say in terms of effectiveness, they're about, I don't know, I'd say... Fire Leech Bolas do a lot more splash damage, so I don't know, maybe half as effective as a Fire Leech Bola, maybe even a little bit less. But at the same time, we don't have them leveled up yet and buffed up and all that sort of stuff, so we'll see. Plus, I don't want them to be overpowered. They're tier 2 unit and they're pretty cheap, so if they were obnoxiously, too obnoxiously strong, it would be unfortunate. Anyway, here come the enemies. Slayer Pirates working together with those Goblin Hewers, while Malachi stands at the front. He's dropping deranged munitions. Nice hit to that enemy infantryman, and dropping deranged munitions buff on his units here. We've also summoned the Spirit of Grudgebearer, which is now floating overhead, helping kill the enemy Marauder Berserkers and Ice Wolves, and moving forward to keep attacking whatever else it can find. Plenty of Slayer Pirates up there as well. Alrighty, and it's gonna give chase to the running units. Must be a pretty scary to be running from a thunder barge. And the little sort of air core that we have here as well. Anyway, the bounce back has shifted to about 70% in our favor, and it's time for our Slayer Pirates to move on out. The first of the enemy mammoths is also now being targeted by our brimstone guns, which appear to have dealt with the other large units, so might as well focus this one. And it's down to about 20% of its HP, and I doubt that this first feral mammoth will reach us, though we'll see about the second mammoth, or marauder chieftain on mammoth. Alrighty, one more volley, I think, from everybody, if you can manage it. And that wasn't really a volley, but nonetheless, down goes a big boy. And we continue moving forward and firing away at the enemy with our Slayer Pirates as well, if it isn't some Marauder Champions moving in, which are definitely going to reach the line then. Unless we help out a little bit. Here come the Gyrocopters. Ooh, love seeing the Spirit of Grudgebearer just fighting and firing overhead. Fantastic. And the Gyrocopters as well. Marauder Champions have made it in and are engaging the Slayer Pirates. We got another unit of regular, more Marauder Champions moving in as well. Probably blocking at least some of those shots with their shields, but kind of hard to block all that steam, isn't it? Alright, the Slayers are just going to keep on working. The Slayers working with Malachi, probably equally as deranged. But there to stand around and block the enemy and help out. Well, I guess the Slayer Pirates are doing the same. Some Marauder Champions, or Marauder Champions, some Chaos Warriors of Khorne move in to help the Marauder Champions, but it looks like none of them can find any purchase in the line of Slayers and will be gunned down, whether from above or from below. You gotta love command units like the Thunder Barge. It's, I don't know, it just adds a nice little extra dimensional feel, sort of, to the battlefield. Anyway, with that, the enemy army breaks and the battle is ours once more. A couple more, I guess, Grudge Raker blasts from the shotgunners of the Thunder Barge, just because we can. But it's not like we really need to chase anybody down. Alright, there we go. That went very, very well in our favor. I enjoyed seeing the regular gyrocopters do their thing, though they didn't feel too overpowered, as it took them quite a while to bring down each individual unit of Marauder Hunters with javelins. That would have been a threat. Got to see the Spirit of Grudgebearer, and the Slayer Pirates, including the Long Drongs, did reasonably well as well, roughly matching the gyrocopters in terms of performance, which is decent. Malachi did a little bit of damage. Lovely little debut for his force, which will get stronger and stronger, and besides, we have an adventure scheduled for them as they will move to reclaim and retake the territory that Malachi had started with. Anyway, I think with that, folks, I'm going to call the episode here. It was like 7 battles, and it's going to be a lot of editing to do. And next time we will probably finish up with Mr. Throg with Wintertooth here and be able to move elsewhere. Probably should grab the Wolf Forest real quick. I'll do this stupid little waste of time battle between the episodes, and then I guess we'll send Grimly up this way. It's finally time to start taking territory here. Ooh, looks like these guys are going for Doomkeep and these territories rather than these territories, which is kind of dumb because they're just gonna, okay, well, whatever. We'll hopefully deal with it. Anyway, that's what's going on up here. Gromby will wait for one more turn in the hopes that Scarby comes back to get his defeat trait, but will otherwise move down to Sarthoriel and then begin taking Helpit over once the Zinchans are gone, since we can't have them running around. King Azrael's going to start moving northward. His army is obviously incomplete, but it'll grow over time, and we will recruit some stuff with other units and ferry them to him. I just want him to start fighting, as there's a lot of rats up here, and we may as well try to take Mount Gunbad as fast as possible. Ungrim will continue doing what he's currently doing. In fact, speaking of Ungrim, you Auto-resolve this after a quick save. Yeah, nice. And then occupy the place, Scrum Peak. And another Guildmaster. Nice. Snorri, you can keep that, and then we will kill you off as well before returning back here in case the Skaven come around while we chase down the last remnants of this particular faction. And I don't know, go for the drink to victory this time. Get a little bit of extra public order here. Yeah, can we reach this in one turn? No, we cannot. I do wonder whether they're trying to go for Hokenhammer while we are not defending it, but it looks like we've nearly succeeded where Ungrim had failed, and ooh, we'll also get Belagar on field. Yes, Confederation next episode as well, which will be our last Legendary Lord, and we'll use Belagar. Obviously, we'll give him Bugman's Rangers as well as other things in order to reclaim Barrack-Var. I still think it should have a legendary port because it's the main trading port in this part of the world for the Dwarfs, and yeah, it should have a special port or at least a landmark or something. It's kind of silly that it doesn't. Yeah, we'll use this to retake this, and we'll have the last fight against these guys, against Queek with Durak's last stand, and then get our new Grudge Settler army as this Age of Reckoning will be complete. Lots more to do, a couple more armies to get on field, and we're now starting to rack up that allegiance, so we should be starting to use allied units as well, which will increase the different types of army compositions. Should be fun. Ooh, and the gun army will be ready next episode as well. Yes, good. Me happy. Anyway, more Dwarfs to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially to Threshold for the longer episodes. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.